Now it's fun.
We're recorded.
Go back though.
Pass up our C folder to the IG brand.
No, so I'm really trying to hard to reach you.
No. Industry and cola. He's in the bath. Oh. He's coming.
I mean, in order, pledge allegiance to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Call please.
Charlie's absent. Julie? Here. John Clem,
Here.
Bob Lamson.
Here.
Tom Zook,
Here.
Zane Ryder,
Here.
John Zagarek.
Here. Okay, we have a form. Minutes, everyone had a copy of the minutes, either in front of them or electronically. With them over here for correction. And motion. to accept.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Julie, and by John DeGarrett to accept the minutes from the May 18th meeting. All in favor, consent by saying aye.
Aye.
None of any. They're accepted. Okay. Public comments. All good? Okay. Thank you. Okay, committees. Engineer Linda?
He doesn't really have anything. We spoke, I believe the library's plugging along, John, Bob?
She rocks up,
So,
the guys there. Lost her on it today, I think so.
He's good there.
Mhm.
Attorney,
Great, thank you. Council's okay with it. If we could have a brief executive session after the meeting, I won't keep everyone long to discuss litigation matter. First thing I had was, and you don't have copies of this yet, because I wanted to make sure I was going in the right direction with all the couple of ordinances that I'm working. Like, if you recall, when we've been discussing the issues with the EMS company, be it or ambulance company being reimbursed for services that are being billed that are not being paid to them, and a couple of issues, obviously, we've talked about with the fire company too, regarding our ordinances are a little outdated. If you look at the code of ordinances when it comes to the reimbursements for costs for emergency services and the authority to do that kind of stuff. The way we wrote the code of ordinances back in the day, it has borough council setting fees and costs for the different volunteer organizations. And it has us very much involved in this process. There's also a limitation, I believe, that the chief or the president of the association had brought to our attention, talking about there being limits on who they can bill and who they can't bill pursuant to the code of ordinances. So what I tried to do here, and then please everyone take a look at it before we make any moves on it, but we've deleted certain portions of that. It basically went right from section 503 all the way to, I believe it was 508, which was talking about different regulations council would put on the collection and and different parameters for enforcement of collection for emergency services. It just, obviously, it's nothing we've approved in years. It's nothing that we want to limit them to. We don't want them to be limited to who they can bill or where they can bill. That's really an association issue. It's not really borough council's problem or borough council's purview. So I've amended that. That we're basically clarifying that the EMS organizations can independently establish their fees, bill for their services, and pursue collection of lawful charges. Without our approval or administration, we really don't need to be involved in it. But I did leave a section in here That still allows for, if they need us or want us to be involved in this somehow, that we do have ordinances that are in place. I don't know exactly how they would utilize this. We'll probably have to send it over to the chief of the ambulance corps and the chief of the fire company to take a look at. But basically, we're authorizing them to, cost recovery is authorized for whatever they do, hazmat, apparatus, rescue services, whatever they use. They can include the response services provided within or without or outside of the borough where the volunteer service organization is authorized or requested to respond. The determination of rates and fees, they can independently do that. We're not requiring them to build any particular person, entity, or insurance carrier or class of person. So if the fire company wants to have like they currently do, I believe, is a membership drive where if you were a member of the volunteer fire company, or a member, whatever membership drives they have, or the ambulance company, if you're a member, then you won't get billed for anything outside of what insurance won't pay for. That's up to them. Their board of directors can take care of whatever they want to do in terms of memberships. They're authorized to do that. The reimbursement procedures in 505 was kind of silly. So they can invoice, bill, charge, collect. We're not responsible for determining liability, issuing invoices, processing claims, anything. That's in their own name on their own behalf. I did try to at least include some language here to talk about insurance proceeds. What I put in here under 505D, you'll see is that any insurance proceeds or benefits or reimbursements received by a person or responsible party attributable to emergency services provided by a volunteer emergency organization are deemed to be held in trust for the benefit of that volunteer emergency services organization to the extent of any unpaid charges. Acceptance of insurance proceeds intending to reimburse an emergency services shall not extinguish the obligation to the volunteer emergency services organization. And any effort brought by a volunteer service to recover any unpaid charges. Evidence is that a responsible party received insurance proceeds attributable to those charges, failed to remit them, may be considered by the court determining liability. And if they decide to go down the route of civil action to recover any unpaid charges, they could seek reasonable attorney's fees, cost, collection costs, expert fees. Although they probably won't go through our ordinance to do this, it at least gives them some authority through the borough that they're organized in and that they operate out of, that we at least are authorizing and allowing for this. The enforcement, borough cooperation, they can pursue any remedy they want. We will, if we have any record retention requirements, providing copies of incident reports, police reports that may assist them in collection or collecting lawful charges. That's basically going to be the role that we would have going forward. So please take a look at that. Let me know what you think. Get it on for advertisement. The biggest thing that we've talked about recently, the rental registration ordinance, because if it were there a decision, we have to, and most municipalities are probably going to have to revamp their inspection ordinance, the property compliance and inspection ordinances. After our meeting last time, I kind of tweaked it a little bit, worked on things. What I've broken it down into is that if you don't want to do a rental inspection, if you don't want to use our third-party inspector and go through the borough for your normal rental inspection, you have to go through what I'm calling the rental property compliance certification. We talked about this a little bit, basically our self-inspection. So I did put down that they would have to do this annually. If you do it through us, you only have to do it biannually. So if you want to do it on your own, you got to do it annually. They have to submit the certification on forms before January 31st of this year, within 30 days of commencement of a new rental. They'll have to have the owner, the address, emergency contact, yada, yada. They have to certify after reasonable inspection of the premises by the owner or the owner's agent. And that these are all the occupancy limits, the premises are fit for human habitation, the ingress and egress is maintained in safe condition, utilities are functional, no dangerous or unsafe conditions. The certification is gonna be signed by the owner, property manager, or authorized agent. It has to be a certification made under penalty of enforcement under this chapter. They have to maintain records for 3 years, including the inspection checklist. And they have to be provided to the borough upon lawful request. Failure to maintain those records is a violation of this ordinance. We approve by resolution, and we'll get to that in 1 second, a rental property compliance certification form identifying minimum items and fees for those things, because I kind of adjusted the fees a little bit, where fees are also a little bit higher if you're doing self-inspection, but I'll get to that in a second. So this voluntary inspection program, it's the voluntary inspection program is our inspection program. So we just participate, we inspect, our third-party inspector comes in, and that's how you get your CRO and demonstrate the code compliance. False certifications, anyone who knowingly or recklessly submits a false or misleading and inaccurate information, enforcement proceedings, fines, penalties, suspension or revocation of their rental registration or any other remedies. If you fail to file a certification or materially file an incomplete one or knowingly a misleading one, that's a violation of this chapter, subject to all fines and penalties. All of our enforcement rights are still preserved if we do need to seek entry into a property that we believe we might need a warrant for or something. So anyone who fails to submit their compliance certification, a materially incomplete one, recklessly or knowingly submits a false one or inaccurate one, fails to maintain their records or otherwise violates this ordinance, shall be subject to a $1,000 fine plus cost of prosecution. Each day of that violation shall constitute a separate offense. So section 2, part 5, chapter 5, part 4, we deleted 403. So now we have the certificates of occupancy, voluntary certificates of occupancy. That's 2 years, 2-year program. Compliance certification alternative is if you want to do what I was just talking about. That's the self-inspection. And I did say in here that the borough may establish reduced registration fees or other incentives by resolution for landlords who participate in the voluntary certificate of occupancy program. We're not, clearly says here, we're not mandated, it's not a mandatory inspection or a routine inspection. There's nothing requiring a landlord or a tenant to submit to a routine inspection pursuant to Rivera. It's all complaint-based enforcement, so we can still investigate any complaints for violation of the ordinances, property maintenance code, anything like that. We can still issue notices of violations, any other civil actions, whatever we want to do. So take a look at that one.
Sean, real quick, the voluntary inspections. If the landlord says yes, aren't we going back to Rivera when the tenant says no?
I guess that's a good point. The tenant says no, but landlord says
Yeah.
yes.
Because it's a tenant who filed the Rivera, it wasn't the landlord. So so I think the voluntary section may have to be out on. Because you're gonna have, I have a tenant and I tell them, oh, we're gonna voluntarily do this, and that tenant says, oh, wait a second, he forced me to do it.
Yeah.
Then we're forcing them by ordinance.
But that wouldn't be the case if it was for inspection at the time of the new tenant. would it?
No,
Because
that's
that would basically essentially be vacant at the time.
right. If there's no tenant, yeah, that wouldn't matter. It's only when there's a tenant in it is what.
Yearly.
And if it was a complaint by the tenant, then the tenant would be invited to the inspection, so that would be a violation of Rivera.
No.
Right.
Now, what's nice with this is if, like we were talking earlier, if the landlord says, oh yeah, we got all this stuff and checks off the list, but the tenant comes in and says, hey, no, they don't. You now have documentation of him lying, which is an additional charge.
So should part of the ordinance maybe include when the landlord does a self-inspection, that a copy of their self-inspection certificate
Yes.
should go to the tenant?
Have to review.
Tenant and borough, yeah.
A copy to the tenant. I mean, if the tenant sees something that's lacking in, I mean, if he says there's fire extinguishers in the property and the tenant says, oh, it's not fire extinguisher.
Right.
That's a violation.
That's what's gonna happen too.
Mhm.
You know that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I'll add that as well. I'll send out an updated version for you guys to, I don't want you guys to review something that's amended, but I think we're on the right track here, and really, as far as I'm aware, we're the first municipality that's really taking this thing with Rivera and amending our ordinance, so we're not gonna be subject to a challenge or something. We're ahead of the game on this one, right? Just finishing up here, the rental registration resolution, this goes hand in hand, but what I was trying to do here is, if you're gonna do, I figured to try to incentivize people to use the third-party inspector, so we know that these places are actually gonna be okay. The rental unit fees, you still have to pay a fee even if you're self-inspecting. So, $150 for the 1 unit, $250 for the 2 unit, $350 for the 3 unit, $450 for the 4 unit, 5 or more, it's $100 per unit. And that's including the administration of the borough's rental registration and compliance program. If you do the voluntary inspection, 1 unit is 120, so you save $30. 180, 240, 280, and $65 per unit for 5 or more units. So I use the reduced fee on that for the voluntary inspection. I just thought that might be a nice way to incentivize people to do that rather than do the self-inspection. I think we all.
Can you put in the voluntary inspections, maybe in parentheses or something, vacant apartments?
Of course. I can have that. And I also just laid out these costs will be used to fund processing rental registrations, maintaining records and databases, code enforcement, complaint investigations, legal notices, professional services in connection with administration of rental registration and compliance, and other reasonable administrative inspection costs pursuant to Chapter 5. So it's right there in the resolution that these aren't just fees we pulled out of nowhere. These are, because I think we have to almost assume that complaint investigations and code enforcement actions are probably going to increase because of the fact that less people, if they're going to voluntarily, or if they're not going to voluntarily do it the right way through a third-party inspector through the borough, they're going to self-inspect. We're probably going to be in different situations that increase our costs. So that's why those fees are a tad higher. So those are the fees that are established by our third-party inspector, the ones for the voluntary program. Want to do the certification, the self-inspection one, those fees are a tad higher because the administrative costs are probably going to be higher with that. And I think we already talked about the police officer hourly rate. We have that amended up. There's no change in that. It was approved at the last meeting. So that resolution will be good to go once or hopefully we'll be good to go. I'll make that change and it'll go right along with the amended inspection ordinance. Okay. That's it for me.
Sean, in order to save the landlords a little bit of money, and I don't remember in Rivera because they didn't talk about the lease, just that the property was leased. If there is a section in the lease that says they must allow the inspection prior to them moving in, so like when they first signed the lease, then can they get that reduced rate with the voluntary?
That's a very good, yes, because then it's a contractual obligation between tenant.
Right at the beginning.
Yeah, we're not forced.
So maybe, in that section for the voluntary inspections must be within the lease, within the signed lease.
Yes, we can definitely put that there. That would be a good help.
So what's the question for you, Linda? Do we have a list of all the landlords?
I have
Oh,
no
God, no.
idea.
Oh, God, no.
'Cause I'm just thinking to
No,
myself,
we do. I just have no idea how we're gonna track all of this, and Holly and I are gonna have to really read this and brainstorm it because they don't tell us. They don't tell us that they bought a property and we'll give them the occupancy permit, and then a couple of weeks later, they're on social media advertising an apartment. I just stumbled across one on Northumberland Street that is a near and dear friend of Zane's that he owns that I didn't know he owned and is a rental. So, because they don't tell me, they don't get occupancy permits. They don't get occupancy permits. I have to say probably Julie is one of the few that's on it, and it's probably because she hears from me. But it is, I mean, we stumble across them all the time. Yeah, and then when you say to them, you need an occupancy permit, they're like, well, we moved in. What do you mean we need an occupancy permit?
And, you know, when I was zoning officer,
it's
I would go
awful.
for zoning, for occupancy permits, and the first thing they would say to me, you mean I have to pay you to live here?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Back then it was like $20.
What is the occupancy permit now?
On a residential 35 and on a commercial 75.
Can we change that fee? If you get it voluntarily at 35, if you're caught without one, it's 100, or it's 200.
It's just, it is just a bear to. When the house is being sold, we can get the abstract company or
Right.
the real estate company, and then, you know, and we tell them, we kind of say, well, you can't close until you have one.
Yeah, we can
Whether
make,
that's really true or not, I don't know, but I try to.
if we can make it part of the, that ordinance. That if you're caught without an occupancy permit inside there, not only do you get, make it part of that $1,000 fine.
Ideally, we don't have this landlord anymore, but this landlord did it best. They had the occupancy permit form with them, and when you signed the lease, you paid your security deposit and a check to Whitehaven Borough, and it was all done at once, and then the inspection was arranged. They were on it. I wish more landlords would handle it that way. You get your lease and you get your security deposit while you're at it, get this out of the way. And I've tried to tell others to do it, and they just don't there isn't one of them in the pile that cooperates when it comes to that.
Well, hopefully with the fine amounts, they will. after
And
they get
that's why
whacked
we
once.
ask for relief to do it every 2 years, because Holly will tell you this last year, we started in like March, February to bill everybody. And we were still chasing them down in December to get their inspections done. And we still went down with a couple and inspected at the end of the year. It's the entire year those files are out and we're chasing people down. It's awful. Second notices, phone calls, emails. And then when we get paid for the inspection, we hand it off to Dennis Peters to schedule it. And that's another series of phone calls and messages and avoiding them or scheduling and canceling. And it's a tough nut to get done.
I think this might solve the problem. Just send the owners of the properties a certified letter with the new ordinance in it and say, here you go. And if they don't comply, just send them the fine.
The challenge is finding out who's renting them. Some of them probably aren't even though.
Well, and how does this apply to owner occupied?
Like a double block where the owner's on one side and the.
Because in the past, owner occupied were exempt from inspections.
I could probably still say exempt them.
If they're renting a separate unit on the property, who knows if they're making.
That's true.
It's a separate address, it's a separate
Right.
everything, so.
There, then and that.
That's, we should probably.
I mean, you
look at
could buy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no, that's
When
good.
we first did this ordinance, we had a room full of people that were owner occupied, like George Madigan, who said, you know, I live there, I maintain my property, why do I have to go through this? And so they put the exception in. But I would say probably less now are owner occupied, Hall, would you think, than what we had in the beginning?
Some people, some of the time.
Can work on it soon?
Yep.
Very good. Any other questions? Comments? Okay, moving on, manager report.
I don't have much. Last Thursday, I met with the gentleman that's the potential artist for the, mural on the side of the Borough building. He came up with a few concepts. I'm kind of glad you're here since you weren't there, Chuck. My favorite concept that I'm really voting hard for after we see what it's all gonna cost is the side of the building being a window. And it would be a window into our past. And he's going to look at some of the streetscape pictures that I have of Main Street way back when. And then on the other side of the window where we are today. And he's going to have Easter eggs hidden in the picture. So like a kid might be walking down the street and have a Whitehaven Warriors hoodie on. So it would be a nod to the old high school or the whole old school. Hence why we were looking for pictures of the bell to maybe do a little background shot of the school with the bell. Things like you might not pick up on it right away, but there might be an officer writing a ticket on Main Street and his pen says Wilmots on it. So that's why he's doing so much history. He's looking at ways to tie in things that mean things to people in the community, but he can't show it all in one painting, obviously. And we did talk to him about other locations and maybe it being a storyboard where this is one window with one story, and then maybe there's another window down at Woods and another one at the hardware store. So the whole concept to me was really, really cool and different and not something that's been done over and over and over again. We gave him, I have a list because we sat here on the screen and looked at like every old picture I had, and he gave me a list of about 24 pictures he wants sent to him, plus the ones Bob helped me get from the library. So it's a neat idea, but he said he's got a couple of other concepts too. He is in love with the side of our building. I have never seen an artist touch the side of the wall of our building and say, this is my canvas. So I don't think we have a choice of hiring another artist, because he's like, please don't think I'm weird, but this is like the best wall ever. Yeah, he's just over the moon about this wall and he wants to do it. And so we'll see where it progresses, but I loved his ideas and I loved how he wanted to tie in our history.
Or the farm is here.
He even noticed, because there's a couple of pictures of the clock from the bank with the bank tellers. And I pointed out, look, the clock is still here. And he's like, I want a picture of the clock. So I don't know what's going on in his head, but I can't wait to see what he gives us as a concept, because
You have to put the ghost.
yeah, we didn't get into that story, but he walked up and down the trail. He was here for quite a while with Ed. When I left them, they were still at it. So yeah, I could see why everyone liked him. He's got a great personality. The only thing we didn't calculate for, which I have Sean checking, is we may have to rent a scissor lift. And depending on the cost, maybe the borough would kick in the cost of the scissor lift so that he can get up and down on the side of the building safely for his art. But I don't know what that costs. Sean's going to do some rental pricing for us to see, but he's going to definitely need a scissor lift to get up and down. So.
In the same vein of murals, have you all noticed the one on?
That
Joe
Joe
Chuck
did?
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
give
mark
that
for
man
130.
some kudos,
Yeah.
because honestly, it's the greatest to the town that we've had.
Yeah, and you know what? Alice was thrilled about it. She was asking all about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
from the DNO.
Painted perfect.
Oh, yeah, well,
I don't have patience sometimes.
Yeah.
I
Did he actually do it or have somebody
project-
do it?
And he's
I
like,
watched
no,
him
I'm
one
gonna
day
do
at
it
work.
with a plumb bob and da-da-da. All right.
Yeah, it's our mile marker. Yeah, no, it came out really nice.
It came out really, really nice, yeah.
All right, thank you, Linda. Cancellation taxes are listed for the month.
So if you come up. and-
Code enforcement, zoning, the reports on file. Jumping into street committee. Zane.
Sean wants to spend money.
Sorry. Sean wants to spend a lot of money.
It's not my fault, it costs so.
How old's the pickup truck?
13.
Don, here's the biggest
2013.
question. Out of these bids, do they all have what you want in them?
I did exactly what we had, except I just changed the bed so it lasts longer.
Okay.
That's literally all I did.
For the aluminum bed there.
Yeah.
So it lasts against corrosion.
So these are
It's the only
all
thing,
the exact same truck.
just the Ford version, so the cloud mount.
So I can make a motion to buy the New Holland Ford. New Holland has we've purchased every cop car we've gotten with the exception of the Tahoe through New Holland. And they moved their upfitter to Plains.
Oh,
So their upfitter don't only have a place in New Holland, they have a place in Plains also, that we've actually rode cop cars up to have repairs. They're right there for any service we need.
So they can take delivery right there.
That's where you will take delivery most likely.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Another question, Linda, on financing.
So the first plan would be that you would also make a motion that we can sell the pickup truck on municipal bid.
Okay,
We would use the proceeds of that as a down payment to bring down the cost. And then I'll talk to Chris from Liquid Fuels to see if we can run the payments for the loan out of Liquid Fuels.
the paper like we did
Which
the other one, correct?
Which he said we could. But there is a maximum amount of what we could. So later on, if we reach that maximum, we may have to switch it over to the
Real
general fund.
Real quick, Sean, what's the distance for date of delivery?
That's one.
4 months. So if you post that truck on municipal bid, it'll probably sell within 2-3 weeks.
Mhm.
Can you go 3
Along
months?
with one truck for,
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, I don't want you,
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
I mean,
would it be better to order the truck and say, okay, in a month and a half, 2 months, put it on municipal bid?
are we able to do that?
along with these coast good food,
Right.
We're gonna make the purchase now,
okay?
but we're gonna, if it's gonna take 3 months to take delivery, then.
You ain't making a payment. You ain't making a payment for 3-4 months.
Okay.
So if we hold on to that, just don't wreck it.
At least until, at least we'll get it, you know, at least.
But
we
no,
have
but
it.
figure, I gotta get the dumping for stuff on the bucket truck and whatnot, so that would work out perfect.
Sure.
Just so we're not singled out for one truck and then we're down.
Right.
We have a motion on the floor by Council, second by Bob Lamson to purchase the from New Holland at $74,656. Correct? Okay.
And that is co-stars for all of this.
How's my buddy doing down there?
Roll call vote, please.
He is, ain't he?
Yes.
Fallon,
Yes.
Clem,
Yes.
Lamson,
Yes.
Zook,
Yes.
Ryder,
Yes.
McGarrick.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Purchase truck.
Do you want to do the motion to sell the pickup truck or do you want to wait a month and do it next month? Since we're not in any rush.
Can we make a motion for 2 months from now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
make a motion to sell the current truck on
Put it on the bid.
municipal in X amount of time.
I'll second.
Motion made by Zane, seconded by Julie. To put it, what's it,
2013
Silverado.
Silverado 3500.
This will bid in 2 months,
Give or take.
in 2 months,
Based on when the new truck will arrive.
okay?
does that work?
That's perfect.
Nine,
Right.
those are any? Motion carried. Motion for the borough manager to handle the arrangements, we need that too, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot that. Thanks, John.
I'll make that motion.
Well, that's just the way it is.
No.
My month by John Ricketts.
Otherwise, I'm
Joey,
chasing you guys to sign it, yeah.
For the borough manager to handle the necessary paperwork for the purchase. Okay. All in favor of consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Those are any? Motion carried. What else you have, Sean?
I'm not trying to, as you see, we're starting on the crosswalks. We'll get with stops to get the dangerous ones done going down Berwick and get the ones done through town. Like to get Main Street done before the gym will open again. Gonna start pothole patching very soon. Hopefully this weather will figure itself out. That's that.
Okay. That's it. The police chief?
What do you want? I can wait. You either one. Go ahead.
The unmarked car went to go get fixed today.
No, the marked Tahoe.
Yeah.
It's marked now.
Yeah.
It's marked now.
Yeah, the Tahoe went to get fixed, the transmission, went in it. So we're down a car.
And what do you say, 2-3 days?
Yeah, he can order it, the transmission will be in within 2-3 days, he said he should have it back.
Computers? No, we ain't
No,
doing them
no,
yet.
we're not doing it.
Okay. How's the new guy working out?
Good, Officer Brian is on his own now, he's doing very well. A lot of issues that came up over in Denison were addressed at the last meeting over there. with the speed on 437 and stuff like that. I addressed that at their meeting. And that went well. That's it, just been busy and trying to stay ahead of it all.
We could still use more part-time officers. I don't think it's worth putting an ad in the paper or doing anything like that, but just have it out. If you can just put it in there, we can go. Put it in the paper.
Did you see the story that LLC, Luzerne County Community College, is now going to have a police academy?
Yeah, that's been in the works for a while. I don't
Yeah.
know when it's finalized.
Yeah, it's official. They're gonna take 2 classes of 25 per round.
Timmy, anything you good?
All good.
Yeah, I think we're all good.
Thank you. Fire department report is on file. Ambulance report is on file also. Building the grounds. Working on quotes for garage repairs.
We called people, but I don't think any, go
So I
ahead.
talked to Chloe and waiting on him. Catalina, however you say, Valerie's coming.
Oh,
tomorrow.
okay, good.
She called me today. Other than that, we had any, like, to Josh, like any?
No, I mean, we've called a bunch of people, but nobody's coming back with quotes. A lot of them are saying, well, we hope you don't want it done right away. And I'm like, no, we'd like a quote so we can hire you and then you can put it on your schedule. So if it means you're not gonna get to it till August, so be it. But we'd like to get on your schedule and I still haven't gotten any quotes. I even have people looking at the drainage or water there too, and they haven't gotten back to us.
Okay, there's nothing on finance. Charlie is, he'll be back next month, hopefully. Finance, we're okay, live that, didn't know. Okay. Recreation.
Nothing. The last meeting we had to cancel. I was away. And the meeting before that, a couple of the other people were busy, so we'll hopefully have one in July.
Okay. Planning,
Nothing, I don't even think there's anything.
No, nothing's coming forward.
Okay. Water. So 1,223,000 gallons for the month of May. That's pretty well. That's all from last.
It's actually down a little bit.
Yes, I don't think we voted on, we have nothing to vote on, correct?
No consent agenda. No.
We heard that. Okay, monthly bills total 61,977.09. Motion to pay the bills, motion made by John, paid by Bob to pay the bill. All in favor? Those of any? Motion carried. Any comments from the public on non-agenda items?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I just have a report here from the library concerning the YMCA program that's going to be going on this year. The YMCA got a grant. They're doing summer meals and STEM fun kits. They'll be distributed to families every Monday beginning June 29th through August 17th at the library. Program is organized by the Y in partnership with the library. There are over 50 families that are coming to get meals for their kids. They get a box containing breakfast and lunch for 5 days, along with an appropriate STEM craft.
Nice.
Diane says over 50 in her email, but I think she told me today it was 65 registered.
This one.
What's a stem?
Okay, that's it, Bob?
That's it.
I have one thing too. We're talking about, it's hard to keep track of these renters and, at one time, what happened, if I recall right, when Whitehaven owned the water authority. When they come in and get their water and sewer hooked up, the secretary of the water sat here and the borough secretary sat there, so it was very easy. So you had to pay to get this water and sewer hooked up. Wonder if we could do anything with Aqua.
Buying back?
Huh?
No.
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 Too late. Somebody else is getting it.
Somebody who wasn't here then.
I don't know, John. It's a nice idea and I could talk to her, but everything is done out of a call center now.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to Steve's
I
office.
mean, I remember before, that's the way it worked.
And it's not like things are changing hands. They're not, not doing the build because
I know,
most of
but
the
still,
tenants.
when a person came in, they had to get water and sewer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's not the water authority secretary. and there was a
Yeah.
whole secretary.
You don't even have to contact the garbage anymore, because that all's taken care of. So
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
you don't have that,
Opportunity anymore.
that initial contact with anybody.
Exactly.
You
yes.
have to
Send the fire department stuff to current resident.
I mean,
You could have used the fire department stuff, because that goes to.
No.
Kurt, yeah.
That's still on their mind.
So,
I just said during the day, if any of the police or any of the street department or anybody else sees somebody moving in, just write down the address and let
That
them-
goes to
let them
our
know.
billing agent. We don't even do that. They do it.
Yeah, I don't know what else.
You know, that's pretty much how it's gonna have to be.
We don't do it.
We always find them because they start chatting on Facebook and we go, who's that? And then we find them. The tenant gives themselves away.
It's an idea.
I saw your notice today on Savvy Citizen about fireworks.
Yes.
How are we handling?
That's the $1,000,000 question.
Okay, yeah, I thought as much. One firework at a time.
I mean, with the 250 and everything, it's gonna
be.
next to impossible.
Yes.
It is, it's.
I know.
Yeah, I've been getting, some complaints from Foster already that they're, starting and what they can do about it for the 4th of July.
I heard a lot of them over the weekend too.
That, they're all, I watched them, they're all East Side Borough. Yeah, cause you stared.
Yeah. I liked it in the winter time because I could see it.
You can see it, and it's
But now
all-
I can't with all the leaves, so.
Yeah,
Some of those strobe ones too,
Yeah, they had some nice
We
ones.
talked about before. You're gonna chase one over to Foster and chase one to Denison. and-
Yeah, they're gonna be done.
It's gonna be just what it is. I don't know. that
Yeah, we
can
went
do
through.
any more than that.
You made me think about it, Linda, when you talked about people jumping on Facebook and making complaints, because there's
Oh, it's gonna
about
be.
10 o'clock. That's gonna come.
I tell you,
Yeah.
This year it's gotta be worse with the 250th anniversary.
Where's it gonna be better?
Gonna be worse.
Depends on your point of view then.
Yeah, depends on which way you look at it.
I'm a firm believer, the state should have never legalized what they legalized.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly. They made it too easy there.
Yeah,
Well, and now they're not putting off little firecrackers.
And John, as you remember, I used to love my fireworks show, Timmy. But you had a certain limit of what you could buy. Now you can buy anything.
Yeah. And you can buy them in a box, but you just have to let it use and.
Yeah.
And who got the money too? Okay. John, you in executive session? for
No, wait.
Litigation?
I think you got
Think
comments.
we have some more in the audience.
oh, yes.
Oh, I asked him that before.
Sorry.
Well, yeah, then you interrupted and you started talking.
Okay.
I think everyone remembers when I brought the little one up here. Well, the big one came from Germany. Right, so that's how it's run. And yes, you could hang this on the wall.
That's right, the way it is.
You would hang her in there with a little plaque saying about the 250th anniversary in the United States and the year was printed.
That's with cake.
Yeah, it's horrible to open too.
She shook the steeple off the church.
It's
Now you can find the
stand
streets.
out.
That's
Here,
awesome.
everybody get pass it around.
Where did GI? That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the Sharpie. Let's put property lines on.
I think we should let Poppy.
But it's your project.
Oh, that's exciting.
It's so cool.
It's too small to you, right?
So.
Say, there's me. I
Bend
mean,
down and there's like a special flag.
Stripes in there.
You did a heck of a job, cutting your ass there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Really.
yes,
Thanks,
Chris,
Chris.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe in 20 years, when the town grows more, you can create another one up and put them.
Town can't row anymore. That's it. That's the size of it.
Okay. Your motion adjourned.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Zane, second by Joey to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Negatives? Motion carried. Good, executive session. Following this meeting. Now we don't leave, you gotta help clean up then.
Wow.